Hello, in today's video we're going to talk about that motivation molecule called dopamine. It's something that allows us to self-motivate ourselves and to feel really good, to relate to others, to feel pleasure in our life. Sadly, so many people nowadays crave it and try to get it in the wrong ways, like gambling, sex addiction, drinking too much, using drugs, shopping too much. All of these ways increase dopamine, but they also damage our lives in many ways. So there are so many different positive ways to increase dopamine, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So as I was going through my old notes, I found all of my notes about dopamine, and it's something I looked into in the past because I had low dopamine and I still struggle with it. So I thought it would be a great topic to cover, to bring out those notes and share all the information with you, because I think it's so useful. So symptoms of low dopamine can be things like depression, inability to feel pleasure, inability to relate to other people, to connect your thoughts with your emotions, inability to self-motivate, inability to start or finish tasks, inability to react to stress in the right way. When you stress, you would just get really angry or frustrated, forgetfulness, mood swings, and even inability to lose weight. All of these could be symptoms of low dopamine. Low dopamine often goes with low serotonin and high cortisol, and all of these things are linked by high stress. So when you're really stressed, it's quite easy to lose that dopamine and to lose that driving self-motivation. Luckily, there are many ways to increase your dopamine naturally that don't really cost money, and well, some of them do, but most of them don't. And anybody can try them, they really work. So let's start with the 10 ways to increase your dopamine naturally. The first way is my favorite way, and is falling in love. When you fall in love, your dopamine shoots through the roof and you're feeling so productive, like you could achieve anything. And honestly, I remember that feeling. Every time I fell in love in my life, I felt amazing, like I could do anything. And I kind of miss that feeling, you know, when you've been in a long-term relationship for a very long time, you kind of miss those high feelings of new relationships. So if you are in the dating world right now, cherish it while you can, because the dopamine is amazing while it lasts. Next way to increase dopamine is to do physical exercises. So whatever rocks your boat, whatever you really like doing, it's going to help you so much with dopamine, with self-motivation. And I find myself that exercising regularly really makes a difference. And I'm not talking about spending hours and hours in the gym. I'm not even talking about exercising heavily every single day, but just light exercise, even just 5 or 10 minutes every single day. Even walking outside really makes such a big difference in how motivated I feel. A therapeutic massage is a great way to increase your dopamine levels, and science has proven it. My absolute favorite kind of massage is the thigh massage. It's really painful once it's done, but it feels amazing while it's being done. So if you have any good thigh massage specialists around, try it out. It's my favorite. I love it. I can't wait to do it again in my life. It's amazing. The next way to increase your dopamine naturally is through meditation and yoga. I put those two things under the same point because they're so similar, they're so connected to each other. They're both based on breathing, on mindfulness, and scientists have proven that they're very powerful in increasing your dopamine levels. I tried them both myself in the past. I am currently trying to get back to them, and I can attest that they definitely work so well for your self-motivation. Another way to increase your dopamine is listening to music that makes you happy, that really turns you on in a good way. For example, I have a playlist in YouTube that really motivates me, that I use for cleaning or for working, for doing any creative work, for writing, for anything that needs to be done in the house. It really puts me into that go mode, really creative mode, and I love it. Not everybody is driven by music, but if you are, I think you'll relate to me that when you play songs that really speak to you, you feel this amazing vibration in your body, and it feels like you reach a higher frequency, and that's basically the dopamine release. It feels amazing. The next way to increase your dopamine is doing seek and find activities. So maybe that's the reason why kids do hide and seek, because that increases the dopamine so much, but obviously we're adults, so we don't do that. But there's so many other things that we can do, like geocaching, like all of these games that are so popular nowadays, like Pokemon Go, which I've never tried. Thank God, I didn't want to be part of the crowd. Also shopping, you know, shopping, if it's mindful, it can be great therapy for dopamine as well, because when you go shopping on a sale, for example, and you find incredible bargains that you've been looking for, it gives you an incredible dopamine rush. But of course, be mindful. Don't go shopping every time you're unhappy or motivated, because you're just going to burn a hole through your pockets. Another great way to increase dopamine is setting challenges for yourself all the time. And of course, a lot of us have challenges, you know, for the next 5 years, for the next year. But it's so important to break them down to doable, simple tasks that we can complete every single day, because as we complete these tasks and we tick them off our to-do list, it gives us so much dopamine. And that's probably the reason why we as a society are so attracted to to-do lists. There's nothing more addictive than ticking off tasks on your to-do list, and that's exactly because dopamine gets released when you do that. So don't get too obsessive, but definitely create a few very important tasks to complete every single day, tasks for the week, tasks for the month. Basically do a lot of planning, and that's going to be like a self-perpetuating, self-motivation cycle that will keep you going. And then of course there are certain supplements that help you increase dopamine, things like mucuna, which is a herb that contains L-Dopa, which is the precursor to dopamine in your body. Also things like B-complex vitamins, especially B6. Also something called L-tyrosine, which is an amino acid, and also a herb called rhodiola it's from Siberia, and is super good for depression, energy levels, but apparently for dopamine as well. A great way also to increase the dopamine is to do something called the Miracle Morning. I talked about it in the past in a few videos. There's a book called The Miracle Morning. Is when you wake up early in the morning and you go through a certain routine every single day, and pretty much every single of those habits in the morning increases your dopamine. So when I tried the Miracle Morning last autumn, I felt amazing, because I could really feel the dopamine rushing through my blood, and it felt so good. But then I overdid it because I really didn't sleep enough. So if you want to try it out, make sure you go to bed early enough and don't wake up too early. Make sure that you still sleep your 8 hours. But otherwise it's a great thing to try. And lastly, my 10th tip is diet. There's certain foods that help your body produce more dopamine, and it's especially important to eat them in the morning for breakfast and also throughout the day, but especially in the morning, because when you wake up in the morning, your dopamine is at the lowest level. It gets depleted during the night because you don't do anything, you don't eat, so it just gets lower and lower and lower without any kind of stimulation. Things that increase dopamine levels in your body are things like meat, eggs, cheese, oats, chocolate, legumes, fish, almonds, sesame and pumpkin seeds, apples, avocados, bananas, watermelon, coffee and green tea, turmeric, wheat germ, strawberries. I'm sure there are more, but these are just the ones that are really the most effective ones. And I try to have all of these in my diet, and I can see that it definitely helps. So these are all of my tips. I hope that they will help you finding more self-motivation and to do more meaningful things in your life. I hope that you found this helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.